IntelliEvent Lightning Overview. In a three-part series, we're going to try to cover the general basics of what IntelliEvent Lightning can do for your business in improving efficiency and profitability. So let's dive in. IntelliEvent is a cloud-based solution. Your company would have its own web page address or be on a shared server. Each user in the business would have their own username and password. This is the login screen here. Over to the right on your login screen, you'll have information about events we have going on at any given time throughout the year. We host a lot of live events to help train and further learn from our customers. But let's dive into the software. As we log into the site, your username will do a number of things throughout the software. And the first thing it does is it's going to control your landing page. In this case, my landing page is my dashboard. Our dashboard is a user-definable field where I can choose widgets and define what those widgets are going to present. Is it a pie chart? Is it more of an executive report or executive summary, seeing margins? Are we going to see a pie chart here or bar graph, list fields? You can do budget tracking, so you can set goals for your sales team. All kinds of things that you can grab directly from your dashboard. Now, the layout of the site, as you see up in the top left corner, we have a little hamburger bar, as I like to call it, and these open and collapse. We'll get into quite a few of these in our three-part series, but I urge you to spend some time with somebody at IntelliEvent to go through all of it, because there's a ton of value here. But as far as the layout is concerned, if I just jump over to a job list, for example, you'll notice my top toolbar stays consistent with me. And if I wanted to pull up the list, I just hit search or hit enter. I've got a number of different filters that I can look at in here and to pull up different data. If I want to open one of these jobs, for example, I can just hit this little pencil right here, and any one of these would just open up into a separate tab for me where I can take a look at what's going on within that particular job. And we'll get back into the job here momentarily. I want to show you a few other things that will help you make the site make more sense. So anywhere there's a list field like so, we can always sort by any one of the columns. Anything that's printable in the system can be exported to Excel with the click of a button, and it's very easy to do. I just click Excel and it opens up, and you're in your Excel. It even drops in filters for you, throws in job totals and things of that nature. So a very handy way to quickly access reports into Excel and do what you need from there, with the document. Now, we also, in our toolbar in the top right here, we have some quick search tools. So if I wanted to quickly find a job number or a client invoice number, I can do that through this search mechanism. Or we can use our recent search, which is based on the user, what you've most recently clicked on. So jobs here, if I open this up, these are the most recent jobs that I've looked at and that job status. If I click on it, it just takes me directly over to that job. Now, over on the right side, we also have this little quick add where I can come in and I can quickly add any one of these options. I could add a job or a payment, a purchase order right from here. So no matter where you're at in the software, it's not going to affect your workflow. It's just going to simply allow you to create something new. So the best example I like to give, maybe you're working on an order, creating a job, and a client calls. I can quickly come in and create a task for that client. The contacts within that client, I can tie it to another user in the business. So if I want to send another team member a note as a reminder to call someone back, or whatever it might be, these fields in here are customizable as well. So it really adds a lot of flexibility with your task creation and making sure you have all your follow-up reminders built into the system. When those tasks are sent out, if I send that out to another team member or assign a task for myself, those will show up here in what I like to jokingly refer to as the magic bell. The bell up here is going to store all of my tasks that I might have on any given time. It's going to tell me what the status of that status is, the status of the task is. Is it open or closed? And so I can see that from here as well. Now, we also, inside our bell, while we're in here, we have a notifications tree. What this allows you to do is create alerts that automatically send to somebody in the company. You create a user group that receives certain notifications. For example, you might have a labor coordinator or labor team that gets labor-oriented tasks or notifications. Labor was updated or deleted. You might have a situation where product is changed within 24 hours of the event date. That might go to your warehouse team or your logistics team. There's literally roughly 100 of these, maybe more than 100 notification options, and that list is rapidly growing all the time. Now, we also have a support tab over here. We uniquely offer a support portal for each of our clients so that you can communicate directly inside of a ticket with our staff members. And, if you forgot how to do something or there's something wonky going on, we're going to quickly reply and work with you on that. Now, lastly, up in our interface here, we have our user profile or our account. And the main thing I'm going to point to for this demonstration is our time clock. We have a tool where you can clock in and out at any time. So whether it's clocking in for the day and clocking out for the day, or it's I want to clock into a specific task. I could even clock in or out of a job, and then I can put in what their talent is. I can put in what the labor task is, any notes related to that time clock event. Now, what's nice about that is if you clock yourself into a job, for example, I can then push that information to the job to get real-time job costing of any labor. So if you're doing pre-production meetings, you can clock in and push those hours so that you're getting a more accurate P&L for that job, which we're going to get into because that's a very exciting piece of the software as well. Okay, I'm going to switch gears quickly, and I'm going to go over to our clients and leads, and we're going to look at our client and lead list, and we'll just pull up our list here, and then we're going to do a quick search for a client that I know has some good data on it so we can show you what we have behind the curtain here. Now, our client editor, which would be either client or lead, depending on what this is. If you see here, you've got revert to lead. If this was a lead, this button right here would say convert to client. The main difference there is for reporting and management of the accounts, you can separate them to have leads versus clients. The data structure is all the same, so as they push forward to become clients, you can see that. Inside the client or lead record, I can see all the jobs they've done with me in the past. I can see their ledger, grab a statement. I can even merge clients. So if, to clean up data, if one person put it in one way, another person put it in another, a nice, easy way to merge clients. We also do have a search for duplicates as you're creating those. But when I get into the jobs, for example, if I were to pull up all the jobs for this particular client, I can then quickly access that job and convert that job into or duplicate that order at any point if I wanted to as well to pull up all of that data. So it's just as simple, again, as editing and going right to that job. So we're going to come back over to some client detail on the bottom here. We've got your invoice information versus your shipping information. So those can be kept separate. Your billing types, we do offer master billing as well for any hotel contracts potentially. And some of this stuff is pretty standard. I like to kind of breeze through it though. Equipment discounts. Client always gets a 20%. You can drop that in there. Pricing tiers and pricing levels. Beautiful thing about Lightning here is you can have as many pricing tiers as you want. So you could have a corporate rate for your inventory and a government rate for your inventory. Or because it's infinite, you could have customer-specific pricing if you wanted. You've got all your service charges and, is a PO required? All of this information funnels over to the job process. So if your sales team enters this client in on a job, it's going to know already everything you need. It's very simple and populates all the information. even down to if you're working with multiple currencies. Maybe you're doing stuff throughout the world. Very easy to default whatever their standard currency is. Your terms, your template choice, all of that is built right in here. We also store tax information, so we can store tax certificates that might be on file. They'll even prompt you when those are expired, so you know when that expiration is up. We also have a very nice tax integration with a third-party company called Avalara. Avalara is a great tax verification company that essentially does exactly that. As you enter a venue or a client on a job, it will verify that the tax information or tax region is up to date. And if it's not, it'll ask you if you want to update it, and it'll update it automatically for you, which is a really nice tool. We've got a tasks field, so we can search for tasks that might be in here. We also store opportunities. Our opportunities can be generated manually, where I come in here and just populate a new opportunity. These are independent from the job itself. So it's maybe a book of business you're going after before you send them a quote for inventory or anything like that. We also have an integration with your website, which is possible to do a lead and opportunity integration. So as your potential clients go to your website, fill out a form, that form will automatically push in here and create an incoming opportunity. From there, I can convert that to a lead or a client with one click of a button. So it makes it really easy to gather that information as it's coming in from your website. Again, like a lot of the things in the system, these fields are all customizable. So you can call these whatever you want to create your own workflows, your own lead sources, all of that stuff, built directly from here. Then when it's time to move this opportunity and you're going to get the business, you can save and create job, and this will port all this information over to the job where the job's taking over from there. A really handy tool. We also have a marketing tab where you can create your own customizable marketing fields, generate reports off of that, so you can see all the emails for nonprofit companies if you wanted, or things of that nature. We also have a holds tab. These holds will alert a job, alert checkout, or alert the client page, and or lock the job and lock the checkout page. So essentially, if a client, this example is an easy one, if a client is late to pay, you may want to alert the sales team, hey, they're behind on their payments, they're late to pay. If that continues, you might move that alert to a lock. Then it will actually lock the job, and the sales team will need admin approval to move forward with that. Any admin approvals, and there's a number of them throughout the system, will all send to the bell of the admin team, as well as to their email, of course. Last couple columns in here, we do have a files tab, so you can store files in here, driver's license, stuff like that. We've got a change log to track any changes that are made on these and when it happened. And then lastly, we have a document hub, so I can see insurance certificates and rental agreements and when they're expired and things like that. So it's a nice way to link files to a nice document hub. Over on the right side, we've got our notes. So any notes that might be taken if we have a quick conversation with somebody, or any tasks related to this particular client, including any emails sent out of the system. For example, an invoice was emailed or a job was emailed. That's going to automatically create a task, and it closes that task as it's been sent. So it's a nice little handy tool for your client editor as well. Now let's quickly look at our venues. We also store venue information for any place you might do business. So I can come in and I can look at like the Hilton Lake Hotel here in Las Vegas, and I can get anything from room dimensions, airport codes, dress codes at that location, problem flags that might exist. Now I can also load photos here, and as you can see, you can just drag and drop files in here. What's nice about this is, let's say you're out doing a site survey. Because we're cloud-based, you can simply take out your iPhone, take out your Android, take some photos of a room or an area, add those to the system, give some notes in there if there was, bad looking electrical or something like that. If you, can't, pull your tents somewhere, you can put all that information in here. In the venue, I can also store the rooms that might be at that venue. I can set up commission structures with these folks. So if there's kickbacks and stuff like that, or hotel billings. I can also see all the jobs I've done at that particular venue. So access that, and then I can duplicate those orders. Now, the jobs are really what drive the system. And as you've heard me say, you can search for jobs a few different places: job list, clients, venues. I can also come in and see favorites. So I can create a list of favorite jobs, and then I can duplicate those orders. So if you have a standard job you do pretty regularly, you can use that as your favorite, which is kind of like a template to start the job process. Then you come in, you change your client, maybe change the venue, change whatever you need to change, and move on from there. In this case, for demonstration purposes, we're going to come in and we're just going to create a new job. And I can do that right up here along with a number of other places. I think that's the easiest. Now, from here, we're just in our job editor, and I'm going to walk you through the basics of creating an order. The first thing we have is our job status. The keys here are the quote only and the option do not affect availability of inventory. Tentative and active will reserve the gear, with active being a confirmed order. So depending on what your business practice is, if it's signature or deposit, you can kind of control that and create your own SOPs with these. Accounting is letting accounting know that this job is ready to invoice, and then the dreaded canceled and lost jobs, and then of course when a job is invoiced. For demonstration purposes, we're going to say active. I can also set a percentage or a probability to these. So let's say it's active, but maybe there's a 5% chance they could back out. Whatever, I can set those parameters up if I'd like. From here, we're going to jump into our job description, and we could just simply say, this is if I could type the test demo phase 1, and we've got our demo description in here. We are set up for multiple offices and multiple warehouses. The subtle difference between the two is your office really is responsible for your financials. And your warehouses are really responsible for the movement of your inventory. You could have one office and two warehouses. You could have two warehouses and one office, and really anywhere in between. Each office will have a default warehouse. So as I do the corporate office, it's going to choose my default warehouse for me as well when we get into our products. Now, we have our job types here, which are all customizable. So you can really call these whatever you want. And these impact your action summary, which is also customizable. And the little red asterisk is what is going to default my availability check, right? So a straight rental has all of these items. Maybe my production, it's called something different, right? You see it just changes some of those. Something that's a little bit more simple, maybe your virtual event, might have a different layer, even a pre-record here. So all I'm doing is I'm just, changing to whatever I need in this case. Now you can, as you can see, you can set up a default time as well for any action. So let's say you're always delivering for your productions at 8 a.m. and always returning at 5 p.m. You could just have that default in there like so. Now, my client information, I could search for my client, and we're just going to pull up the same one we looked at. So we see all the same data structure, pulls all of that in. And then I'm really just populating my dates. So, when's the delivery date? Now, from here, I can tab through like so. If I want to tab all the way through and just click on what I want, or I can just use my cursor and drop down. You'll notice that it pulls the day before the previous action as my default, so I can see that. In case you're a couple months in advance, that way each time you click on the next one, it's not going to mess that up. As I come through here, though, I can come in, put my end dates, and if everything looks good here, great. If I want to change my billing dates, I can do that to default however I want, or I can have it based on these action summaries. Now, we also have a number of triggers that when you save, you are forced to do. So any of these things I've showed you so far, you can force your team members to do. So here, for example, I tried to save, oh, my venue name is blank. So it's just kind of helping guide your team to make sure, hey, let's populate all of these certain fields and let's not miss anything here. So if I want, I can come in, search for something, or just grab, something in like so. Now I hit save. Again, it's going to ask some questions. These are all just predetermined questions. So in this case, I have my system default set to go off the delivery and return date. So it asks to change the days to 5. Again, those are just a lot of system options. Our awesome training team will help you set all that stuff up. Once you decide to partner with IntelliEvent, hopefully. As we scroll down, you'll notice a few different tabs here. We've got our products. So as somebody else might be putting in products, your lighting's put in lighting, your tent's putting in tents, all of that will populate here. It also allows me to tell you can have multiple people work on the same job at the same time, which is a great tool. So if, again, lighting guy's working on lighting, labor's working on labor, you're working as a team on one job and everybody can see what's going on. We also have a change log to track any changes going on in the log itself. We also have a discussion log. This is an internal communication piece. It's actually tied with your email, and we have an integration with GChat. So as you communicate, it real time sends information to your team, just for internal use only. Now, we also have a logistics tab where as we create logistics plans or actions happen in the site, it's going to send information over to our logistics team. When logistics does stuff, it sends back stuff to the job. So everybody's always on the same page. In our second session of this demo, you'll be able to see a lot of that logistical information as we pull that coming from the job. Then as we continue down on the bottom, we've got our job notes, we've got our scope of work. These really act like a Word document. I can even have a pre-defaulted scope of work in here. So if you always have like a standard scope of work for your productions, and then you can edit it and change it on the fly. This allows you to create a much kind of, as I like to say, a sexier proposal where you have your audio X amount, lighting X amount, or general breakout room or general session X amount. And it's more descriptive as opposed to that line item look and feel of some proposals. We have the ability to create your own custom templates so we can incorporate your job notes or your scope of work directly into your contracts with your terms and conditions and everything. Now, we also include the ability to have links. So you could have like the venue's URL in here. I could have files in here as well. So maybe I put in a CAD drawing or something of that nature. I can drop all that in here. We have a great tool for e-signature. It's called IntelliSign. It's our own proprietary tool that we've created, which allows you to send out any template in the system for e-signature. And then your client can sign off on it from any device. It'll update you with the status. So it'll tell you when your clients have opened it and when they've signed it. And then we also store their IP address. So from a legal standpoint, you know where it was signed and from what device, all that fun stuff. We also have a really cool survey module. It allows you to create your own customizable survey to send to your clients, commonly post-event. You might want to say, hey, how was the cleanliness of our gear? Rank it 1 through 5. How was the friendliness of our staff? 1 through 5. Are you likely to do business with us again? All of that fun stuff. That'll all pull back into the survey system and analyze it for you so you know exactly where you are, and you can bring that into team meetings and whatnot. The last tab here is our Google Calendar. We have an API integration with Google Calendar, and we can also bring that calendar over to any members of this project. So the calendar will go company-wide and to the individual users. Now, on my right here, this is my details bar, where anything related to this job is going to populate in here. So if I cut a sub-rental or put in a route or any of that stuff, the one I want to point to is this margin. this is what I like to call a living, breathing thing. So as we jump over to start putting in products or labor, all that information is going to affect my margin. And we can really analyze our margin as we're building this job. We're very big on tracking profitability of the jobs. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some sets. And these are like rooms or areas of the event. And when I'm adding these, I can actually change the dates and times of the start and strike for that particular room. I can add multiple if I want to just say add and new. So if I said, my general session, like so, we'll hit add new. We'll say day 1 breakout, like so. Now, if the venue has rooms, I can actually tie the room directly to this set, and it'll just pull from the drop down of that particular venue. We'll say we're going to grab one more. We'll say day 2 breakout, and we're just going to say add, and we've got our 3 breakouts like so. Now, when it comes to putting in inventory, there's a few ways to do it, so I'll kind of show you those. I could simply scan a barcode and drop it in. I could come and do a product search where I start typing and I type lighting and it's doing a search. You see it looks anywhere in the word. If I keep typing, it's going to keep narrowing whatever it is I'm looking for down. I find a console here. If I hit enter twice, it just drops that item in. Now, the nice thing about Lightning here is when I put in a product, I put in this high-end system, this is a list of suggested items that could go along with it. And so it can really guide your team to say, okay, you're putting this in. Do you want this to come with it as well? When I'm bringing these in, I can bring them in quote only, meaning I'm not using my gear, but I'm just putting in this product for quoting purposes. Or I can bring it in pull sheet only. So maybe I want this to be brought to the job, but I don't need the client to see it. I'm already billing them on the top item. So I can just check that box and I hit add suggestions and it drops that item in, puts this little P on it so we know it's pull sheet only and it's not billing. So now the client won't see this item, but the pull sheet will, the warehouse will, and all of that fun stuff. Now, that's my quick add. So you can see it's pretty easy. It actually, I'm using my cursor, but you literally don't have to. If I wanted to put in an item, I can come in like so, drop it down and in, and I'm right back in my product where I can start typing and searching again, or I can hit Shift Tab and change my set. Hit Enter, Tab, I'm right back where I was. Reason I'm showing it that way, if you're not a big fan of the trackpad or the mouse, you can really build the large part of an order with very minimal work as far as using your trackpad. You can use your keyboard for everything, just moving it in like so. Now, if you do like your trackpad, you're definitely going to like the next way better, which is our drag and drop feature in our product search section. Now, in our product search section, we have some categories we can define by as well. So, for example, I might come in and look at just lighting, right? And it's going to break down everything in my lighting, my top level, my designation. If I want a subset to that, let's say I just want to see my dimmers, I can come in and I can see my dimmers like so. Third subset to that is my group. If I want to see large format dimmers, great. Once I've got that, I also have a search, but then I can just drag this to wherever I want, and whatever I highlight, it's going to drag right under it. Again, if we have any suggestions tied to that, you can have those pop up automatically. If you don't want the suggestions to pop up automatically, they don't have to. You can utilize this little plus over here to take a look at the suggestions at any time. So as I'm dragging these in, I'm just dragging and moving them like so. If I were to take multiple items, let's grab all 4 of these. And I'm just there, I clicked on it to see the availability of these items. So I can do that as well. But let's say I want to just drag all of these items at the same time. It's going to drag all 4 or 5 of those items. And then here, I've got suggestions for multiple items, so I can see all of them at once. So it makes it pretty handy to come in and see that. Now, if I wanted to come in and search for something else, come into audio, I can come in and search for audio as well. It's just breaking it down how I want to search for it. Now, in this case, you'll see my audio this little button is a little different. It looks like a package. That's because these items have multiple items inside of that header that make up a package. Again, same thing. Now you see here, all of these items are packaged items. I can hide those components and I can see what's in that 2-speaker sound system. Now, if I wanted to open up the package, I could just hit this little package right here and I can see what's defaulted in and what's not. Like in this case, these 2 items are defaulted to not be included. But if I wanted on the fly to say, yep, you know what, I do need more of those, I can do that like so. And then I hit save, and that's going to drop that into my day 1 breakout. Again, I've got my suggestion pop up. And right here, we've got our 4K. And if I wanted to move that around, I can move that, up here, highlight it wherever I want to highlight it. If I want it, at the bottom, I just slide it to the very top of that list. Now, if you, depending on what type of device you're on, if you click an item and drag it and move it and hit Control, you can slide that item to another set and it will actually copy that item. Now, if I want to drag and move something to another set without copying it, I just drag and drop it like so. Now, if I want to, let's say I want to take this breakout day 2 and there's actually a breakout day 3, I can come in and I can actually hit copy set. And this copy will allow me to change this. And we'll just say, we're going to change this and call it day 3 right from the start instead of the copy. And now we've copied this over and we've got our new gear right here. Now, let's say they're using the same gear as day 2. If I hit this little Q, what that does is that creates those items as quote only, like I mentioned before. So that way you're using the same gear in here. I could even notate why, using day 2 gear, right? And I could put in that little note. While I'm in here inside of this set, if I change dates and times, I can do that in here. If I change dates and times and save it, it will just change the dates and times for presentation. If I change the dates and times and hit custom logistics, it will override the availability of the job to the new dates and times and create separate logistics plans for me. So a very nice way to customize your availability from the overall job summary availability. So you have that from there. Now there's a number of columns you can see in here, all the way down to seeing an image. And you can filter the format so you can have a custom grid look. So custom grid doesn't have quite as much on here, and I customize that myself. I can custom the width, which columns show up. All of that can be seen here. Okay, so that's a little bit about the products. I'm going to jump over to the labor side here as we continue to build our order here. We're in our labor section now. From the labor, I can come in. What's the task they're going to do? Maybe they're going to set up op and strike, and what's the dates and times. And then I can come in, maybe my end time is 5 p.m. I've got my time and a half, my double pay, all based on my labor policies. And then I can search for whatever it is I need. So if you need a fire dancer, I can come in, I can see that. If I want to clear out the search, I can clear out the search. If I want to see my audio text, I can come in and do that like so and drop those in. Let's say the next day has the same show call. All I would have to do is change the day, and you see it changes the day. I hit add selected again. We've got our new days there. Let's say the next day, day 3 here is only till 3, and we hit add selected. But on that day, we're going to start to bring in some lighting, like so. Any lighting assistant, lighting designer, whatever, I could add it like that, right? So I can quickly add and manipulate my labor. Same thing, I can open and close this so I can see these columns. We also have a custom grid or a full grid for this as well, so you can see that. We also have some really nice features inside of our tools. So let's say all of my 8 a.m. show calls move to 9 a.m. Great, I can highlight all of them, since in this case they're all at 8 a.m. I can hit Tools, Update Selected, and all I have to do is change what I want to change. So in this case, I'm just going to change my start time to 9 a.m. Very simple, like so. We're going to update, and that's going to update every one of these to have my new time. If I just want to do a handful, I can just select the handful and change those. Now, if you have like items, like my A1 here, I can come in to each of my A1s. Let's say the show call for all of my A1s is the same, and it's the same person. I can come in here and I can update the resource of the selected. When I click that, I'm going to search for my resources, and it's just going to show me who's available, full-time, part-time, or freelance. So I can see their work status. I can see their document status. Do they have all of that on file? So I can see all of that, and then I can book them directly from here inside of the job. From here, I can send a confirmation email and all that stuff as well. If you watch the second demonstration video where we get into more of the operations, you'll see we also have a global labor scheduler where I can sync this information back and forth from my job to my global labor scheduler with different calendar options and all of that fun stuff as well. But from here, from a presentation standpoint, I can come in, I can assign these to my set, all of that. I can build that labor directly from here. We also have, delivery and miscellaneous charges. So if you're charging for per diem or shipping or whatever it might be, I can add those products in here. Each of those have a cost to them. All of our grids act kind of like Excel grids. So you can see I'm just kind of tabbing over, and maybe the cost was going to be $75 for shipping, and we're charging $100. So I can put that cost in for any of these. As I'm looking at my overbookings, I can come in and I can actually cut a purchase order for each one of these, and I can add these directly to a PO. If I have one already on file, I can put that in there, or I can just come in and I can quickly create a purchase order in here and tie that back to the job. Again, in our phase 2 demonstration, we're going to look more at the operation side, and we'll look at POs and we'll look at transfers. The last thing I want to show you in the job here is our checklist. We've got a great checklist that you can fully customize. You can call this whatever you want. You call each of these terms whatever you want. You can have a yes or no toggle. You can have a dates field. So when all these things took place, you can have as many questions as you want in here. And it's really exactly what it's called. It's a checklist to remind your team to get the things done that they need to get done on a particular type of job. You can have different checklist types as well. So you can have 5 different styles of checklist depending on if you're doing a wedding or a production. You might have a different style of checklist. Now in my jobs page here, we've kind of built out the job. One last little thing I want to show you is I can come in and I can create a task for this job. It's going to tie in my job number. And if I populate this task, whatever it might be, maybe it's a site survey, on the 19th that we need to do at, 8 a.m. 8 a.m. like so. And we save this task. When I look at my notes, this is going to show me any tasks related to this job and any notes related to that client. So I can always quickly toggle and access that from my details side. Now we get into all of the documentation, and before we even send out a printout, I like to show this job cost report. I think it's the most valuable report we have. I can even put in estimated subrental costs. So we haven't cut those POs yet. That's fine. If there is an estimated subrental cost, that will tie in to that internal cost and that PO cost for me. And I can see where I'm getting hit by a margin on these, as well as my labor, as well as my miscellaneous, and any overhead that might be charged for that event to give me an accurate net profit and an overall gross margin, which again, to me, are the most important numbers we have, in the business. But let's get back to the main job screen here. I'm going to pull up my IntelliSign, and what my IntelliSign allows me to do is simply send out any one of my templates. Again, when you view this template, don't be married to the layout because it's fully customizable. We can customize this header. We can customize the notes, where the signing is, your terms and conditions. All of that can be, fully customized in here. But what I'm going to do is I'm just, adding whoever I'm sending it to. Obviously, if I was sending it to the client, I'd be putting that in here. We can even create an email template. So maybe I have a sales template where you want to guide your sales team to exactly what you want them to say. And it has the short codes to put in the names and the job number. You can do all that from here. And directly from here as well, I can come in and I can add a payment link. So let's say I want to add a payment link to the top of this, and they're going to put you've agreed they're going to put $5,000 down. Great, we're going to add that in here. Now your client, in one document, one email, they can put in their credit card and pay for that deposit, and they can sign off via e-signature through your IntelliSign. I can put an expiration on those. I can also have it move to active, if you're just sending out a quote. When I send this out, what that's going to do is it emails that out, and now the client down here will have a pending status. Once they've opened it, it will say opened, and then of course once it's signed, it'll say signed. There are notifications tied to this as well as emails. So you're getting that kind of full turn, signature, credit card, all from one fell swoop. All of these printouts, though, are, like I said, fully customizable. The pull sheets, the load list, you can get weights and dimensions, all of that directly from here. So for phase one of our demonstration, we are complete. In the next phase, I hope you join us. We're going to take this same job and we're going to start the operational flow. The client signed off on the document, and it's time to put on the event and scan out our gear and book our labor, route our trucks, all the fun operational items that you're going to have. We're going to take a look at that in phase two, so we hope you join us there. In the meantime, please feel free to reach out to us at sales@IntelliEvent.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us if you'd like to take a further dive into the software and get a one-on-one presentation of how the software can apply to your business and all of the great tools it has. For now, thank you so much, and we hope to see you soon.